Yeah, becoming vegan was a very long process for me. I guess like seemingly long. So I started going to the University of Texas in 2008 in Austin. So I moved out of Houston, moved to Austin. And about that time, I was going to the mess hall a lot, kind of eating at the dorms, et cetera, like you do. And my sister told me that I should stop eating chicken because there was a lot of hormones in chicken. I was like, okay, she's 6 years older than me. She's kind of like my guideline. I was like, sure, I will stop doing that. But then it was probably, maybe even a week later, that kind of opened up a path of being able to realize that there's parts of my lifestyle that I could just cancel out like that. And was wondering, well, if I'm canceling out chicken, it's kind of the first time that chickens, the animal, actually really ever associated to the meat. And that allowed for pretty quickly to be like, I don't want any of these meat products. So I think I became like pescatarian, and then had some more awareness of, well, I'm kind of making excuses on how fish experience the world. And then it was vegetarian for a long time, and then kind of had like the realization of meat or dairy and eggs. So that was probably over 2008 to 2016 was like that trajectory. I think of just like encountering and more information and then accepting it and kind of moving through. I wish I would have I wish veganism would have found me earlier. I would have found it, as kind of like, and just probably would have escalated all the way to that. But it was more of progress of learning more and more, and never really even having the conversation, not choosing not to be vegan, but almost not considering it until it was found along the pathway, which is a bummer, because if I would have come to like a sanctuary, it would have been very clear if somebody told me about the dairy and the eggs earlier, So yeah, that was kind of the buildup. But in that time, also as you become more aware and selective of what your lifestyle or who your lifestyle is going to impact, then you're also just considering lifestyle choices more individually. And so having this awareness of caring about farmed animals was now in my life. I had met Angela just the year before we started the sanctuary, moved in together. So from us meeting, it was kind of now part of her life. And then just happened to buy a half-acre in South Austin. And a person that I worked with has a family that owned a goat dairy, and they had 2 goats that were no longer like in need. So we knew that meant they were going to be killed. And he was like, hey, I know you like animals and you have this half-acre backyard. Do you want 2 goats? And we're like, sure, we'll rescue 2 goats. And that was kind of like the next stumbling block into then what we've got today. Got a nice butt shot of Buddy this whole time. So it kind of just began with a little bit of awareness when I went into college, and then finding more and more info, and then now being obviously full bore on the other side of it. So when Angela and I were together, and the first awareness of it was basically as we rescued the goats. Like, we were both vegetarian, very staunchly vegetarian. We're like, high quality eggs, high quality milk, that's fine. High quality in quotes, obviously, kind of believing the marketing lie. But then when we rescued these goats, we're kind of like, why would these goats be in need of rescue from a dairy? And then we probably, Googled for all of like 30 seconds. So we're like, oh, mom's babies, done with dairy. Got it. No such thing as a happy dairy cow. And then at the same time, we were kind of like, what about eggs? That's just a byproduct, right? And they were like, no, this is the egg industry. And then we were kind of done. So it was basically this kind of realization that all typified right at the same time as we rescued the goat girls, Bertha and Cookie, that we kind of had this complete awakening that like opened us up to that, that vegetarian versus vegan box. I guess I'm sure there was a lot of feelings, but like after first becoming vegan, there was probably a little bit of relief, but then I imagine, at least me reflecting back on it now, not having kind of journaled that day necessarily to reflect on it fully, is probably like a little bit of shame. Like, once you have this awareness that what you've been doing for the prior X amount of years of your life was bad, not bad meaning you're a bad person, but the action was, in the equation of all of it, bad. And I think that that's probably the hardest thing to accept as you're choosing to challenge yourself to improve your lifestyle, is you have to admit that your prior actions may have been painful or harmful. So I think that kind of making that shift, there's a little bit of a relief because you're not going to contribute anymore. But for this first time, you almost have like this full feeling of how much have I been responsible for beforehand. So like there's this juxtaposition of the relief knowing that you're going to be doing so much good, but the acceptance when you go become vegan that you probably haven't for most of your life beforehand. So you feel like this peace. You've kind of finally come to this place where you would love to have a happy, compassionate, loving world, that like you're interested in that, and you feel like you've actually like tipped the final domino to actually accepting that, okay, I can be here. This is the way. So, and then, that gets combined with, then you get frustrated. Now you can see the outworld world a little differently. Now you're in this kind of different kind of level of awareness you feel like about animals. So it makes other people's decisions and choices become a lot more visible to you because you see them as harmful. And you want to eliminate that, if not limit it, so a lot of emotions, I guess, comes with it. But reflecting back on it, obviously the greatest part being joy and peace. But it becomes complex because now you want to do more. Hopefully you want to do more. Like, don't stop with yourself. Hi. So in 2016, September of 2016, Angela and I bought our first home, a half-acre in South Austin. When we bought it, we thought maybe we'll rescue a couple of dogs, cats, etc., have a family that'll be like our life. But the weekend that we closed, we found out about Bertha and Cookie, the two goats at a goat dairy. And we're like, sure, we'll have them. They joined kind of our dog pack a little bit. They got their own section of the yard. And then in February of the following year, 2017, we got a phone call from our neighbor, and she said, hey, you seem like weird animal people. We're like, yes. She's like, I heard about this pig that's in need. He's at a local FFA at a high school. He's going to be killed in a couple of days if he doesn't find a spot. Maybe you want to help. And at this time, we didn't have an awareness that like farm sanctuaries or rescues are a thing, that maybe there'd be somebody else out there that could help. But that kind of, that landed in our lap, and we were like, well, we must be the people who are getting this phone call, so we'll act. And so we chose that we would take in Doya. He was about 140 pounds at the time and only 6 months old and growing rapidly. So that was when Doya entered into the backyard. That was when we kind of, we were already vegan at the time. So we had like an awareness and consideration of farmed animals. But because of encountering Doya, we just got to know a pig more individually. Like, we knew we loved farmed animals, but I didn't know a pig or know a goat in the same way that I did my dogs or cats. So it was in kind of getting to know Doya that we realized there's this like higher level of love. He's scratching on you. This higher level of, love that we could feel towards animals. So we really wanted to be able to make sure we saved more, but also created that experience for other people to get to come out and know them and have these kind of life-changing experiences or dialogues with themselves. So we rescued Rowdy and Missy here, and then Dolly the donkey, and then Miss Piggy joined. And so our little half-acre backyard filled up to about 15 individuals. And then we knew that there was time. We wanted to move because we wanted to be able to increase the capacity to save more lives. But having people out to kind of participate in our mission, either volunteer or visit, isn't really possible on a half-acre. It was kind of just like, here's our backyard. So we moved to 5 acres in Cedar Creek, Texas, just east of the Austin airport. We were there from 2018 until 2021. Lots of amazing stories, grew a lot, have had a fantastic team of donors and board members and volunteers that came around to the sanctuary. And so we were in 2021 able to level up and purchase these 40 acres that we're at now. So we went from half an acre with 15 residents to 5 acres with 85 residents to now 95 acres, 40 plus at least 40 plus another 15, with just over 225 individuals here. So now we're finally at our final home. Hopefully we can buy some land nearby us over the next couple of decades, but we're now at the final AFS frontier. Hey, Bill. Tell him. Like a moment frozen time, I knew you so well. Now the love that I call mine's fading in the swell.
the sky, the mood, you like the moon.